Hello world. How you guys doing? Welcome to Mayhem in May. Guys, I'm extremely excited because listen, I think this is our fourth year anniversary with Mayhem in May. And man, look, we have grown to a very, very big magnitude platform for entrepreneurs. And what we're doing is, this was started in the pandemic, right? And literally at the very beginning of the pandemic, we started this platform, or I started this platform, and it has grown tremendously. But we have viewers all over the world that are watching this live as we speak now. This will be showcased on Roku television. So I'm just excited with the platform within itself. Next year, for sure, we will have a live workshop for you guys to actually come to and see, right? So for this year, I'm going to do something a little bit different, because one of the challenges that we had when we had previous speakers was, what do I need to do? How do I need to get it done? So for this 31 days, Dr. Pitts will be educating you on each and every last one of these topics. This will be great for the new speakers for next year, so that way you guys can get a general concept of how you want to have yourself set up when it comes to presenting to Mayhem in May to all of these great viewers, right? What I love about this is that we talk about the same topics. The beautiful part about it is that we have different speakers. So even though we talk about the same topics, each speaker gives their kind of 1-2 punch as to the reason why they feel whatever the topic may be, the reasoning behind it, right? So that way it gives you the opportunity to now take bits and pieces from each person, right? And kind of create your own within this space, right? So the purpose of Mayhem in May is to encourage and inspire entrepreneurs all around the world with different tips, with different approaches of how you can sustain your business and elevate your business to the next level. So without further ado, I will digress and I will go into today's topic, which is day 1. And it is empower your employees. Now, this is for my small businesses, for my large businesses as well, too. However, this particular topic will help those individuals who actually have employees now or are looking to have employees in the future on when you have those employees, how do you empower them? How do you inspire them? How do you keep them motivated within the workspace so that way they can remain right, working with you, which is very, very important. So again, the topic is empowering your employees. And before I dive into it, one of the quotes that I use is that, or the statements that I make is that individuals do not work for you, they work with you. And that has to be the mindset, that has to be the mentality when it comes to empowering your employees, okay? So the summary of this particular topic is employees at small companies should experience a sense of pride and accomplishment from contributing to their organization's success. Even if they don't have an equity stake in the business, being acknowledged as an important part of the team can help boost morale and motivation, as well as added value to their resume. So this again is a reason why individuals do not work for you, they work with you. So empowering your employees gives employees the power to make decisions and take action is a key part of an effective empowerment strategy. When employees feel empowered, they're more engaged and motivated to do their best work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys 10 tips on how to empower those employees, right? And the first one is delegating authority, okay? Delegating authority is one of the most direct ways to empower your employees. When you delegate authority, you're giving employees the power to make decisions and take actions without having to check with you first. Now, this does not mean that you should delegate all the decision making to your employees, but it does mean giving them the authority to make decisions within their responsibility, their level of responsibility. The second tip is encourage input. So encouraging employees to provide input on decision affecting their work is another way to empower them. When employees feel like their input is valued, they're more likely to be engaged and motivated. So now, Dr. Pitts, how do I encourage input? Well, I'm glad that you asked. The first thing is holding regular meetings to solicit input on decisions affecting the team. Very, very important. The second one is encouraging employees to provide an input during one-on-one meetings. And then last but not least, asking for the input via email or an outline form. So that way you can keep a record of that, because just in case that employee does decide to move on, at least you know what kind of engagement you've taken, on. So when somebody else comes in, you're able to kind of reference back to that, right? The third tip is encourage risk taking. Encouraging employees to take risk is another way to empower them. When employees feel like they can take risk without fear or repercussions, they're more likely to be innovative and creative. So, of course, you don't want employees to take unnecessary risk, but you should encourage them to take risk within their area of responsibility. The fourth tip is allow for autonomy. Okay, allowing employees to work independently is another way to empower them. Nobody wants somebody, their boss or anybody, to be hovering over their head, looking at everything that they do, right? You kind of got to give them that freedom. So when employees feel like they have the autonomy to do their work the way they see fit, they're more likely to be engaged and motivated. Well, Dr. Pitts, how do I do that? Well, first, giving employees the freedom to choose their own work hours, right? Very, very important. Now, listen, as a disclaimer, this does depend on how you have your business set up, right? So that bullet point may not work for everybody. The next one is, though, allowing employees to work from home, right? As you guys may know, in the pandemic, when that took place, I'm going to tell you what it did for me. As a business owner who has employees, it allowed me to see all of the money that I was spending with overhead having a brick and mortar. When I saw that my staff was still able to execute working from home, and watch this, they actually executed more effectively and more efficiently. Why? Because that freedom, they kind of were able to kind of pick and choose their hours as they see fit. They didn't have to worry about, whether or not they look good or they wore the right clothing or anything like that, right? They were actually in their comfort zone. And then the last bullet point is allowing employees to take on new responsibilities, right? Nobody wants to continuously come in and keep doing the same thing over and over again. What happens is they become bored. And when they become bored, they don't become as effective, right? So you want to make sure that there are certain challenges that they may have to go through, but at the same time, switch it up every now and then. Okay. The fifth tip is provide training and development. Providing training and development opportunities is another way to empower your employees. When employees feel like they are constantly learning and growing, they're more likely to engage and motivate other individuals, right? There are a number of ways that this can be done. Dr. Pitts, how? Well, the first one is offering on-the-job training. So when you're bringing somebody in, give them that on-the-job training immediately. The second one is providing access to online learning resources. Maybe having a portal set up where they can log in with the username and the password and have access to different ebooks or courses that will help them within their title, right? So if it's a virtual assistant, how do I become a great virtual assistant? These tools will help this individual become a great virtual assistant. If it's, an accountant, maybe they have login courses for accounting, right? The third one is sending employees to conferences and seminars. Hey, You're switching it up. Hey, listen, I want you to attend this conference today or this seminar today that falls under the umbrella of what we're doing in our space, right? It gives them the motivation and inspiration to say, man, I don't have to kind of go into work or even after work. I get to attend something fun, right? And then last but not least, offering tuition reimbursement, meaning that if these individuals took a training that you approved, reimbursing them because you care that they're actually trying to enhance their skill set. Okay. The sixth tip is offer feedback. Offering feedback is another way to empower your employees. When employees receive feedback on their performance, they're able to identify areas where they need to improve. This helps them to feel more empowered to do their work. Now, this can be a little touchy because you do have individuals that will take things and they'll take it to the heart, right? So you have to make sure that you're positioning yourself appropriately. And how do you do that? You do that by basically explaining to them, my job is to help you grow, is to help you elevate, is to help you advance in your workspace that you're currently in now. I want you to be the best you that you can possibly be. With that, you have to change the word, guys, from constructive criticism to constructive critiquing. Never allow somebody to criticize you. You can critique me because critiquing means you're going to develop me. So one of the ways that you do that is holding regular performance reviews, whether that be weekly, monthly, semi-annually, or annually, right? The next one is giving employees feedback during one-on-one meetings. Maybe after you guys have had your one-on-one meeting, give that feedback about that particular meeting, okay? The third one, last but not least, asking for feedback from employees. Hey, how did you feel that this went? Or what do you feel that could have been done differently, right? So it's very, very important that you have that open form of feedback for your particular staff. Tip 7, set clear, and I'll say this again, set clear expectations. So setting clear expectations is another way to empower your employees. When employees know what is expected of them, they're more likely to be engaged and motivated. Now, how do I set clear expectations, Dr. Pitts? Well, the first way of doing that is writing job descriptions that clearly outline the expectations for each person. Very, very important. And you should have this done before the hiring process. So that way nobody wastes their time in filling out an application, not knowing what all of the clear expectations are. The second one is holding regular meetings to discuss expectations, right? Hey, listen, I see that you're not meeting your quota or you're not meeting certain expectations. What can we do to help you get across that finish line? And then last but not least, asking employees to confirm their understanding of expectations in writing. So meaning that after you guys have that discussion, maybe have it on a form and just have them initial by it so they can fully understand that I do understand that these expectations. So then that way now they have some level of accountability for themselves, right? So it's very, very important, guys. Tip 8, give employees a voice. This is very, very important. Giving employees a voice is another way to empower them. When employees feel like they can openly express their opinions and ideas, they're more likely to be engaged and motivated. Now, there are different ways and strategies to do this. One of them is holding regular meetings to solicit input from employees. And guys, listen, you're going to hear this stuff. It's going to be repetitive because it goes to show you how important it is to make sure that you're involved in the workspace. The second one is encouraging employees to provide input during one-on-one meetings. And then last but not least, asking for input via email or via online form, because sometimes people may not want to do things in group settings. Okay. So this is how you're giving those employees a voice. Tip 9, encourage creativity. Very, very important. So encouraging creativity is another way to empower employees. When employees feel like they can be creative in their work, they're more likely to be engaged and motivated. So the way of doing this is holding brainstorming sessions to generate new ideas, right? So we kind of do our things are done like on a Monday, right? Brainstorm Mondays, where we kind of we call it the think tank, right? I think it's now that I'm recapping, I believe it's think tank Thursdays or think tank Tuesdays. That's kind of when we go into that. That's where our idea meetings come in at them. How do we expand? How do we, enhance this, or what do we need to bring in differently, right? The next one is encouraging your employees to think outside the box, right? You want everybody to participate. So whoever is a part of your organization, don't allow one person not to speak, right? Allow them to be involved. Last but not least, asking employees to come up with new ways to solve problems, right? Very, very important. Go over some scenarios previously that may have taken place. I don't care if it was 3 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago, but just giving them an opportunity to say, how would you have solved this problem? See if everybody is on the same page, get everybody's input. That way you guys are minimizing those issues ahead of time. Last but not least, recognize and reward success. Recognizing and rewarding success is another way to empower your employees. When employees feel like their hard work is being recognized and rewarded, they're more likely to be engaged and motivated. Now, the way of doing this is giving employees verbal recognition, words of affirmation, right? Expressing to them that, I appreciate you. You've done a great job today. Keep it up. And even when they're down and out, and you know that they didn't do a good job, just say, listen, look, it happens to the best of us. Dust yourself off, get back up again, and just prepare yourself for the next day, right? Write thank you notes. Very, very important. I think that you can get postcards that have, my recommendation is get postcards that have different affirmations on them and pass it on to that individual, right? Letting them know that you care about them, letting you know that you appreciate them. Last but not least, giving employees awards. And I'm sorry, that's not the last one, but giving employees awards. I love doing this. Maybe you set time aside 1 month out of the year, 1 month, 1 day out of the year to really award your staff and on the great achievements that they've done. Watch this. But do not give not one person something, right? So you may give your best employees these awards, but everybody should get a ribbon of appreciation or a ribbon of great work or a ribbon of just acknowledgement to some sort. And now, last but not least, giving employees raises or bonuses is always a great way to let them know that you appreciate them in any and everything that they have done. So guys, listen, I hope that this information was able to give you some clarity when it comes to empowering your employees. I appreciate you guys tremendously. You guys already know my quote: coming together is the beginning, sticking together is progress, but working together is success. Stay tuned for day 2 of Mayhem in May. Peace.